Hello and welcome to the Solutio Hour of Power. This is Al Urach, one of the owners of Solutio. I'll be answering any questions that folks might have. Right now we don't have anybody online, so I do have a question submitted, so we'll wait till a couple other folks join in. But feel free, as you're starting to get things loaded up here, to click on the Solutio Hour of Power. Let me bring that up. All right, sorry, I was hearing myself twice there. So if I screen share here with, oh, I just want an application window. Here we go, try this again. Here we go. So I do have a question from the Servants of Mary, Ministers to the Sick, which we'll get into here in a second. If I wanted to take a look at some of the new monthly updates that some of you have been getting, just to give you a little bit of an update on those and how that all works. So, so hopefully for most of you, you received a monthly update from us. I couldn't believe it had actually been 7 months or 6 months since the last monthly update. So very sorry about that, but it takes us quite a long time to send it out. I had sent it out at times past, but now there was somebody new. Lori from our team was sending it out, and so yeah, it took 2-3 days to copy and paste all the information in. So now we have a system that generates these pages for you that you can visit at any time. In fact, I think we'll be putting some buttons on your control panels so you can come and visit this at any time. But basically once a month, we'll keep these up to date. We have statistics for a further back time period, but we just kind of figured this would be kind of the most relevant, would be whatever last year's statistics were and this year's statistics. And so we this year's, or the past 12 months, would be listed in red. I guess more accurately be the past 4 months. And then a year before that would be the items in blue. And you can hover over those and see specific numbers if you want to as well. For those that are joining us, looks like there's starting to be some people loading up. If you want to ask questions, please either put those into the live chat by going into the YouTube page, or feel free to type those into the at solutiosoftware.com/power. Let me bring that up on the screen here for us, which several of you are probably visiting us at. Just go ahead and type your questions there right below the video, and I'll see those as we go. All right, so that'll be something, these stats is something that will be keeping up to date. If you don't have statistics and you want those to be available, just like everybody else, I think there's some that we don't have your analytics profile. If you can share that with Andy at solutiosoftware.com, just share your analytics profile that you do have, and then we can start to collect that information for you and present it in that way. The idea is for this to eventually become a little bit, have a little bit more depth to it, to where we can tell you what are the most popular pages, you know, what's your traffic on mobile versus desktop, what were some of the other things we were thinking about. Anyway, so there's other analytic information that we can kind of summarize and put into those items. So hopefully that's something that we'll be bringing to you shortly. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start breaking down questions. And yeah, so the only one I have so far is from the Servants of Mary, Ministers of the Sick. Visited with them, well, at least they have one of their convents in Kansas City. So we'll start there, but they obviously are nation or worldwide. Okay, so they had a question. Again, if anybody wants to submit those, just type them into the area down below the video. It says, Sister Yesenia, I'm having trouble with ordering in regard to articles. I have articles saved from last year and I keep reusing. But if the article number, like so one of them would be 45, I keep clicking on the arrow to move them up to 0 because I want to see on as the first article on the front page articles. After clicking the arrow up a few pages, it sends me back to 45. Is there an easier way to change the order of the article? It'd be nice if we just enter the numbers like 0. Well, that's a great question, sister. And I can show you exactly how that's done. So here's their site. We'll go ahead and scroll down to the bottom. I'll go ahead and log in. Ooh, it looks like somebody might have changed that on us there. So let's make a note to fix their administrator button. Sometimes if, and typically we put it, HTTPS. A second, HTTPS. Okay, and I'm gonna fix in their administrator that link so we don't run into that again. So just a little behind the scenes action here. If I go to the module manager, typically on most of your sites there is a admin footer. So here's the footer-admin. I'm going to go ahead and step into there. And if you come into this editor with your WYSIWYG editor, your what you see is what you get editor, it will strip out some of the code here. It's actually this link. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that. You'll notice that my editor looks a little different. I have different colors and stuff. I have a code editor turned on. So now if I paste that link in, it's not going to mess with the link that I sent in there. So now if I go and refresh their page, their admin link should work. There it is there. So a little side note, just since I don't have any other questions in here yet, I'm just going to show you how to turn off your editor. So sometimes people have questions about placing in some code like that they'll get from PayPal or another site to embed some type of object, and it has JavaScript. What happens sometimes when you have JavaScript is the editor is going to see that as a potential security threat, so it removes it. So we there is a way to change that, or to basically allow yourself to place in some of those protected items, but we just want to make sure you know what you're doing, as opposed to accidentally putting in some malicious code into your site. So if you need to place in some code and it keeps stripping it out, so for instance like a PayPal button, you need to go into your profile. So you can do that by hovering over the word site up at the top left and clicking on control panel, or I'm sorry, clicking on my profile. And so you should see a place where you set your password or something like that. Well, on the right hand side, you should see where it says editor. And for most everyone, that's going to be listed as use default. You'll just need to switch that out to code mirror. Once you do that, you're in the advanced mode. And so then you're going to see the things like I did with the different colors intermixed and the different HTML code. Then you could go save that off, save and close, go into your article or your module, make your changes, save it, and then come back into your profile and reset your editor back to the default. And that way you'll see the normal editor that you're used to seeing. But this allows you to enter into really the expert mode in case that is something that you need to do. Okay. Sorry, there's a little bit of diversion, but just a little bit of background for you as far as fixing that admin button. So you're welcome, sisters. All right, so let's go into editing those the order of those articles. Okay, so here we are on the article manager screen. I'm gonna guess this is in, say, we're gonna filter down here for front page articles. And let's see if they have a bunch of them, which they do. So this is probably the item the sister was talking about. So what happens here? Okay, I want to reorder these articles. And whenever I do that, the first step I always do is I go ahead and I filter for the particular category. So that way I don't have all the other items intermixed into here, and it's easier for me to see how to change that. That I'm going to be changing the items in this particular area. So I always filter down for the particular category. So in this case, front page articles. Second step, whenever you're overriding the order, you click on the ordering button. And looks like Sister got this far. And then basically several pages down the line, right, 45, 47, right, there's all of these old articles. And if you want to move them over, you know, clicking on the little up arrow, one after the other would get pretty tedious. But there's a much easier way to do this. So you can type in here. So say happy canonization anniversary. If I wanted to move this to the top, okay, there it is. If I want to move this to the top, I would go ahead and type the number 0, just like she had mentioned. But the thing you need to do is you need to click on this little floppy disk icon at the top of the column. If I do that, so I'm going to just kind of, okay, so this was at 43, so I'm going to go ahead and move it just so I can see it being done. Go ahead and click on the floppy disk icon, and now that canonization anniversary gets moved nearly to the top. It looks like it ended up being number 5, and this kind of sometimes happens if there's any kind of like misordering in here, or articles have been moved out of this category or moved back in. Sometimes when the system goes and reorders all of them, it kind of like puts them in an approximate spot. So now that they're more kind of more in a strict order, we can put in 0 again there, and we should see it rise its way to the top. Looks like there might be some other articles in here that are archived or trashed, where it's kind of messing with the order here. So anyway, the big trick here is putting in a number in the ordering field and then clicking on that little floppy disk icon at the top of the column. That'll make all the difference. So I want to move this back to 43 where it was. I'll go ahead and type that in, hit the little save button at the top of the column. Now if I go back to I should see the anniversary. Oh, looks like it's now need to be a little bit. So let's try 50. So ordination. Actually, I'm going to do myself another favor here and make this display more articles. All right. Ordination. Oh. That is interesting. Okay. That's what I thought it was called, ordination anniversary, and I am not finding it. So that was an interesting test. It is weird that the articles don't seem to be ordering completely in order. So I may have to check what's going on there, Sister. There might be something a little bit more to this, some type of error. But so I might have to get back to you. I went from 43 on down, unless she's in there at the same time changing these up, because I don't see it yet. So there we go. All right. Other questions from folks? I don't have any listed that I can see. So this might get a little boring unless there's other questions from folks. Again, you can type those in at Solutio, the Hour of Power screen, which I have listed here. Go ahead and join the discussion, and it might ask you to log in with Facebook or something like that too, if that might be the case. But go ahead and type in your questions. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. You can also, if you click on the video itself, or it says February Solutio Hour Power, it should open up the YouTube page, and I think you can type in comments over here at the right. Other questions from folks? I'll check my email just in case. And there. Other questions? All right, well, if you guys don't have anything else, let me talk a little bit about JotForm, something that we've been using a lot lately. They've had a new revision. So again, so I'll just go down this route unless you guys have any particular questions. So JotForm, definitely a tool that we've been using a lot more. Forms are a very powerful tool for your websites to help you to gain information. So instead of you just having to distribute information, you can certainly collect information. Works very, very well to make your website really work for you instead of you just being a one-way path of communication. Typically in the past, I've showed you a lot around Google Forms, which is a very powerful tool. It's free, works very well for lots of folks, and lots of different applications. JotForm is something that is just more robust. There's more power to it. You can do payments, you can do different layouts, you can do some logic inside your forms, so some pretty cool stuff. There is a price tag to it. I think you can create free forms up to 100 monthly submissions and receive up to 10 payments. Again, that doesn't get you a long ways. 100 megabytes available space, not a problem. 1,000 stop, not canceling. 1,000 monthly views, 500 submissions, and unlimited forms. So certainly a free account will get you a little ways down the road here, at least to start experimenting with it. We at Solutio have created, we have a very large account. So if you are interested in this tool and you get far enough and you want actually to take payments and things like that, let us know. And we can add you to our account for just $10 a month, which kind of gives you all the functionality actually of the gold package. And so we can help you add some more functionality to your site. Again, we're not making any money on it. We're just kind of creating you as a sub account, and we can support you in that. But if you want to get started for free and see what all of this can do, you can certainly try that. So we'll open up some forms here. I think, let's see, our sponsorship. Sponsorship form. Maybe that's under Solutio. I just wanted to show folks one with a payment. I might have to just scroll down here a little bit and load them up. Oh, actually, I'll show an application form. Again, that should show. Oh, come on. We got enough forms in here. It's loading up a little slower. There we go. Apply for Solutio. Go ahead and edit the form here. again, just want to kind of give you guys a little bit of flavor of some of the different things we can do. So one, oh, looks like this is a bit of just a test. We can have kind of a layout. You notice like there's an address block here that kind of all gets selected together. And you can also have CAPTCHA stuff to prove people are human. Place that in. Oh, looks like a question here. It might be appropriate. Steve Reynolds, is CAPTCHA code needed? Users are having trouble using it. Email links. We're emailing our links anyway. That's a good question there from Stephen Reynolds. I'd say not. I would not have it in there unless you're having problems with lots of spam. Per my experience on Google Forms, they are very good at it, of just kind of, I think, getting rid of those by default. So I'd say on everything that you have, turn off CAPTCHA unless you're having issues with it. Once they get in there and things start getting hairy and you're getting all kinds of spam, then turn it on. Worry about it as an after effect. It's something that's very easy to turn on or off. And that includes on our own forms. When you're building forms, even into your websites in general, just a contact form, just leaving it off there. But again, some people get plagued by spam, and that's not fun for anybody. And then we kind of might have to turn on things like that. So, good question there, Stephen. Let's see here. Let's pick another form that's a little more complex. Test payment. We're starting to get quite a few here. Oh, it looks like people were just making copies of the Solutio one. Online donation form. I was looking for a specific one. Sponsor. Oh, I had it. So here's a couple. This one here. So we had an application for a job, and this particular job's not open anymore. But so you can have, along with normal forms, right? Again, you see a little bit of a smarter form here where you have the items side by side, email, phone number. You can have a little bit of that. The other things you can do, though, is you can have them upload files. So down at the bottom here, you'll see graphic design portfolio, upload a resume, and those are things that you can't do with Google Forms. So that's pretty cool. That's a particular feature of JotForm. Let me find one with a payment thing. Actually, I'll just go to one of our sites. Which would have been a lot easier. But this is how they're integrated into sites as well. So if somebody wants to sponsor the site here, again, this tool is so good, we use it. We even use it ourselves. So here is a form. Again, you got a lot of those smart fields. And then here's the option for payment. So JotForm takes lots of different forms of payment. I think there's like, I don't know, there's probably a dozen different forms of payment. So Stripe, Authorize.net, just a lot of the popular ones you can see out there. And I can even bring those up here in a little bit. But we chose to use PayPal. Just their fees are pretty low. Okay, I'll get to your question there, Stephen. Yeah, their fees are pretty low. 2-something%. So yeah, and there's no monthly fees, there's no setup costs and stuff like that. And a lot of people have PayPal accounts. So a lot of people have a question of, if you use PayPal, can you only use, people have to have PayPal accounts, and that's definitely not the case. So in this particular instance, you can see how people could select their level of sponsorship, and then they can either pay with credit card or pay PayPal. So if they have pay with, and again, this is all PayPal, that they can process non-PayPal accounts by you just putting in all of your information. So billing address, credit card number, and all that kind of stuff. And then if they do have PayPal account, you'll notice that it shrinks up. And then after they submit their deal, then it takes them to the PayPal site to finish that off. But again, if they don't have, if you use PayPal as your payment processing method, they don't have to have a PayPal account, which makes that pretty universal for everybody. Also, this is a good example of smart fields to where we have it default to pay now with a credit card or a PayPal account, Or if they click on send invoice, you notice that all those questions goes away. So there's a mechanism in there that says, okay, hide if they're going to be sending with the invoice, paying with the invoice. So a pretty like slick way to help kind of minimize the amount of questions they have based on the answers that they give. Okay. All right. Stephen Reynolds has another question. I've seen a checkbox used in the place of CAPTCHA. Yeah, I've started to see that more on Google. That it's like you click here if you're not a robot, and that's kind of another advanced form of CAPTCHA. Those type of functionalities may be coming. Right now, I don't believe they're available in. I don't know how Google Forms is, but I'm pretty sure JotForm doesn't have that yet. Go ahead and create a test form here. All right. So there's different widgets. Let's see if there's any CAPTCHA. Oh, Google reCAPTCHA. Check that out. So on this would be the one I think you're talking about, Stephen. On oh, cool. Looks like we got some more questions coming in. Good. So we'll hit update widget here, and this should give us the little. Oh, there it is. I'm not a robot. I think that's probably what you're talking about there, Stephen. Again, that's just an add-in. Again, JotForm has that. I don't. To my knowledge, that's not an option in Google Forms, but it is in JotForm. So that should make things a little easier for you in that realm. Okay, so we'll come back to this if we have additional time. Just some of the other cool things we can do in here. Again, I'm kind of excited about this. That JotForm has made some recent changes that I think are really good and makes their tools pretty useful. So we can come back to that. All right, so other questions. Eric Hazelhorst has a question about, should we be worried about bounce rate? All right, so here's what Erica is talking about. I'm going to open up Google Analytics. For those that don't have accounts with Google Analytics, if you want one, like for almost every site, I think like more than 95%, we have the analytics accounts for you. If that's not the case, then we went ahead and put your analytics account in, and you already have access to that. But if you don't have access to your analytics account, you want it, please let us know, and we can open that up for you. The only requirement is that you have a Google account, so you might have to set up a new Google account, but just email services@solutiosoftware.com, and we can get that out to you. Okay, so what Eric's talking about is about Google Analytics and a little thing called bounce rate. So bounce rate is the percentage of single page sessions where there's no interaction with the page. So say a person goes to this website that I've pulled up here. So I'm pulling up the audience, the C's website, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton in Wichita, Kansas. So their bounce rate is 51.71%. So as I'm looking through this, right, so here's their homepage, and I can see lots of things here. If you are, your bounce rate isn't too concerning, depending on how you look at it and depending on what type of client you are. So a bounce rate is, oh, there we go, sorry, just so you guys get to look at something else. To a bounce rate, yeah, they just go into one page and then they're leaving. So this is a problem if you're selling shoes. If you were selling shoes and they went to one page and then they left, that's a problem, right? Because they didn't look through the different shoe selection. They didn't decide that there was nothing that they looked at, or they just kind of totally came to the wrong page. So this is definitely a metric that Google keeps track of, and they want to do that because they want you to know if people are basically not finding the right page. Here's what I want you to notice about C's though, because it's a little different. And most of our websites have a different purpose, right? If we go to C's and we look at it, there are lots of changing elements on the home page. So there's these different announcements about what's going on, rice bowls, whatever the case might be, the different retreats. There's parish headlines. There's information here about different items that are going on in the parish. Again, and just another area for that. There's the parish calendar. So we can see what's all going on there. And you can see if something's going on today, or if you needed to, or whatever's going on next week. So they can come to the homepage and see quite a bit of information, even without going any further. Same thing goes for the school, right? Wow, no school today, I guess, for them. Pretty apparent, right? So other things like in the school, so we can see teacher insert, so we can see things that are going on. So it's very quick and very easy to see a lot of the information that they already want. And this is on purpose. We set up our parish websites so that way we can feed people the information they're looking for immediately. Also, if people are searching for you and they're coming to the right page. So Office of Stewardship, Dodge City Diocese. So there is his page, Eric's page. We can go right to it, and we're taken right to that particular area, and we can see what's going on, the symposium, whatever, or particular news stories. So what we have to realize is that Google is based on their advertising and all those kinds of things. They're very much based on e-commerce, and that's something that's very, very important to them. A lot for our clients, they're pointed more around delivering information. So from a news perspective, from a parish, having the calendar available, those types of things, having a contact person to get a hold of. If we've done our job well, the search engine optimization is pretty decent, then a lot of times it's okay if they're just visiting that one page. I have no problem if parishioners are going over and over and over again to the C's homepage and not going any deeper. If we're delivering what they want on that page, again, a lot of parishes, what's a lot of information people want? Well, Mass times, okay? They don't have to go any further. If we've done a good job of showing that to them, then they don't have to dig around in here. Now, there are going to be other people that are going to dig around into other areas, and that's fine. But the homepage, if we've set it up well, we've answered most of the questions that people want to see. So I'm completely okay with that. That's what I'm saying. But if you are selling shoes, or if you are looking for more interaction with people, then yeah, then a bounce rate could be something to be concerned with. Okay, next question. Looks like already answered Steve there. Okay, Father Coulter out of the Diocese of Lincoln. We're wanting to add, sorry, I can only do so many things at one time. All right, we're wanting to add a graphic ad to our news articles. Is there a good way to make them, i.e. switch between 3 to 4 different ads so they're not all the same? That's a good question. Okay, there is so depending on how you want to display an ad, this would be what I would think would fall very much into the territory of being in a module, and maybe you could just use it to team up with articles. So this is my first. There's a couple different thoughts. Okay, so let me share my screen and show you what I'm thinking. Okay, so you'll notice on all of our sites, we have sponsorships thrown throughout. So very similar to what maybe your paper is wanting to do. So that's something that we built internally that feeds from another place. But those basic components are part of Joomla. They do have sponsorships built in, but I don't know that you'd be able to get to those components since they've kind of been disabled and they're managed by us. Okay, so here's what I'd recommend in this particular case is you could create articles and you could put, items with them. So you'd create a new category of articles, and you'd create articles, and you could put a name with those articles, whatever, test ad, and put it into that ad category that you create, put in the text for the ad, or if you want an image, just go ahead and place that image in with their advertisement. And then to actually post it on the site, I would recommend using the module manager. If we go to a new one here, up at the top. Okay. And what we'd be looking for, I believe, is a news flash, articles news flash module. Because what we're wanting to do basically is we need a random item. We don't want it to show a fixed one all of the time. So I believe these news flash items, if you pick from a particular category, will show different ones. See here, random. So basically, you put in the fact that we're going to only show one. We're going to pick from our whatever our ad category, have it show images. You may not want it to show the title. Just that kind of depends on you. Header level is basically how big it's going to make the title, but if you don't show that, it doesn't really matter. And whether or not you have a read more link. So basically, I'd put the image in there if you're going to do images, and have it link the image, so that way when they click there, they go to the other spot. So the magic to this is, one, using the articles news flash module, two, having a category that those pull from, and setting this order results to random. And that way, every time the screen is refreshed, it will pull up a random article out of that particular category to post. And you could go ahead and throw several in there if you wanted to. Like you could have it, what I'm saying is you could have it show several of those articles at one time if you wanted to. So if you wanted to have it show 3 different advertisements, 3 out of the, say, 10 that you have in there, then it would pull a random 3 of them. For those that aren't too familiar with modules and playing around in there, other required elements that we would need to this. So we would put, say this is ads. I don't think in this case we'd want to show the title of the module itself. You're going to need a position. And so those vary per site, but typically an ad will go on the side. So I might type inside here and pick in like sidebar A or sidebar B. Just depending on your template, that'll usually be on the left or right-hand side. So in this case, we'll select sidebar A. And then you're going to need to select the pages that those advertisements would be active on. So where it says module assignment, you would go only on the pages selected. You'd probably clear the existing selection, and then you would select the particular pages that you'd want those ads to appear. And yeah. Then you'd hit save and close, and you'd be off to the races. So hopefully, Father, that answers your question. If that wasn't quite complete enough, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to follow up as best I can. Okay, so I'm seeing if there's any other questions. Okay. All right, let's see on Google. So again, if anybody has any questions, solutiosoftware.com/hour-of-power. Go ahead and plug your questions into there and hit enter. I'll refresh this. We have some other questions that have been asked, so I think I've gotten to all of those. Let me load those up. Yep, so here's the other questions that have been asked. Okay, let's go check out, just kind of follow up on, I know that a lot of our clients use Google Forms. Let's see here, Drive. Use Google Forms, and so let's see if they have any CAPTCHA. Again, that CAPTCHA thing's by Google, so let's see if they have, if they've changed any of that. I know that they've changed their interface recently, so we'll at least give it a check here. Let's see what we've got. See who we'll pick on here. Sure, we'll do this one. Okay, so go into here. And linear scale, short paragraph. Doesn't look like that's any of it. T, no. Adding a section. Okay, responses. Can we add? Oh, it looks like they have a new plugins area here too. This is all kind of new add-ins. Oh, it's just form notifications. I say I don't necessarily remember them adding this. Let me check one other thing here. Yeah, they don't actually offer. That's not a feature of Google Forms, which is kind of surprising. But again, I haven't had too many people really complain about spam being an issue. So that doesn't surprise me. So one way or another, they're kind of already doing a CAPTCHA internally. But they said that you can do things like data validation, like what's 2 times 3, and then validate that as far as whether or not that's spam or whether or not responses get sent out. So yeah, doesn't look like that's a feature of Google Forms based on their forums. But if you want to do something like that, that's where JotForm would come into play. Okay. Other questions that you guys might have? All right. All right, looks like I got Father's question answered there about the news flash module for random articles. So perfect. Glad I've got him taken care of there. All right. Okay, waiting for other questions to come in. I'm going to go ahead and again, don't be shy. Any question is just fine. From the complex to the simple, feel free to ask any questions. Just a little bit more on JotForm, kind of skip back to that. Some other things, cool things that I've seen it do. Again, there's this whole widgets area, which is just super cool. There's signature, smooth signature is one I've used a lot here as another element. And so basically, when you're in here, you're able to, let's preview the form here. It's a pretty complex form here. So we can check that we're not a robot, and then we can also sign a particular document. So, and they can do that with their finger, or they can do that with their mouse. Those all work just fine as far as placing in signatures. So that's pretty neat. Some of their just regular stuff, you see, full name. Again, it's going to break those out into first name and last name. Just a lot of clever stuff that it does. Address kind of breaks that in, already puts a select for states and stuff like that. So time, date picker, time picker. Some of these are available on Google, but this goes just, yeah, again, another degree further. Under settings, we can do conditional logic. So this is super cool. So we can have it show or hide a field based on other conditions. So say if the name is empty or is empty, then it's going to do this. It's going to hide, another particular field like the date. So again, you can just set up all kinds of different conditions here to show or hide fields. You can have it do calculations based, like, so if you had like 5 people registering for something, it could take the price times 5 and tell them what they owe. I even did some other crazy stuff on the Diocese of Salina with, like, if they wanted to have their down payment, they could pay that and it would be a lower amount, or if they wanted to pay the full amount, they could click another checkbox and it would, give them the different thing and do different calculations there. Skip to hide a page, change the thank you page, change an email recipient. So anyway, just a ton of cool conditions. These emails are also pretty cool. So Google Forms, what kind of is annoying, but it's just kind of how it is. Again, it's free. Is that in order to sign up for notifications, say on this form, I have to go to the form, go to responses, and then I have to tell it get email notifications for new responses. And so if I click that, then anytime anybody submits one, then I would get those results. But it's only going to send it as the person that's logged in. So in this case, it's going to send the email notifications to alyurok@gmail.com. You can't put in another address or anything like that. It's only going to email the person that's logged in. So therefore, you have to have a Google account. You have to make sure that's all set up. You have to get access to the form, and only then can you sign up for notifications, and you're only able to get notifications at that particular address. So it's kind of annoying, but that's the way it works. We have used in the form in other particular instances different form notification add-ons to Google Forms. The only caution I really have around that, and why we really don't have widespread use of that, is the fact that Google's a little finicky on like setting up like automatic stuff. So for instance, we have some fancy forms through Google that if like you sign up for a retreat, like a virtual retreat, and it sends you a notification every day. So I went through all, basically recreated this particular set of functionality, and it sends out these little deals. So if you sign up for the retreat, you get 8 days worth of emails to go through this virtual retreat for the religiouslife.com or religiouslife.com, I think. So anyway, so you're able to go through this virtual retreat, but about every 6 months, we have to go in there and log into the account again, just to make sure Google knows that it's active, I guess. So they like to do spring cleaning, so they might clean things out. So that's why we really don't, for automated items, we really like to just use their internal structures, because you don't know when they might happen to turn things off. So anyway, that's a long answer around why typically that's not a great idea if it's going to be an automated item with Google to just leave it on. They get pretty feisty about their server time, I guess. So, but in JotForm, not a problem. Again, it's more of a pay-for product, but you can have it send an autoresponder to the person that fills out the form. So if you kind of an automated receipt. So if somebody says, gives a $100 donation, you can automatically send them, thank you for your donation. Let this be this is let this form be, your official record of this gift, for IRS tax purposes and such. So you can just have that automatically sent out of the gate, which is pretty cool. The notification email can go to anybody. So if I want to send, this to, let's see here, myself and the secretary at the parish and the pastor, like you can just type in their email addresses. They don't have to have an account or anything like that. And the email that they'll get will have all of these items in here filled out for them, which is pretty cool. So they get to see the results in the email and only what you want them to see. So if you don't want to say you don't want to have them have the address, you could say, let's see here, I want to delete that row. So now it wouldn't show that particular field when it's being emailed out. So there's some pretty neat things there to help you, and you can do some different advanced. You can have it send send the form as an attachment as well, or send the uploads as attachments, and to have it send a PDF copy. That's what I was kind of looking for. So integrations with third-party stuff. It can have a thank you page, and you can list out additional form fields there. Thank you for your gift of, and then you can use a form field here of, whatever. We don't have an amount in here, but you can use form fields that they filled in to customize that page. You can even put their name in there and things like that. So pretty cool additional functionality there. And then finally, when you're done, publish it out. There's a link. It works very similar to Google Forms in that way, that you just, you can have it embed the form, or you can have it click to go to that particular link. So anyway, not that I am a salesman for JotForm, but yeah, it's a tool that we've been using a little bit more lately. Really a big fan of it, especially of the redesign. It's made it very easy. In fact, you can edit and change up forms on your tablet or your phone as well now, which is pretty cool. There's all kinds of different designs and forms and styles and templates that you can certainly work with. So a pretty powerful tool. If you're interested in, I'd say sign up for a free account, see what you think, see if you get good use out of it. And then if you're wanting to expand, either buy an account through them, or if you want to be added as a sub user under ours, you're certainly welcome to do that. All right. We are at 50 past the hour. So I'll refresh our comments again here, see if there's any additional questions. But other than that, we'll probably go ahead and tie a bow around it. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Again, we want to get a little bit more aggressive about trying to help parishes, how to help dioceses become a little bit better, use these tools in more interesting ways. If you have particular questions, again, this is just a freebie, so anything goes. I'll answer anything you got. So if you have questions, please submit them ahead of time. You can email me, al@solutiosoftware.com, or if you want to, submit those on the Hour of Power page ahead of time, that's just fine. That way I have something to talk about and a direction to go, because again, you guys kind of make this happen. I guess in this case I talked a little bit about Jotform, but I'll talk about whatever you need me to. All right, well, I've refreshed a couple times, didn't see any new questions, so we'll go ahead and cap it at that. Sister Yesenia, I'll get back to you on kind of some of the weird behavior that I was seeing there. There's something going on behind the scenes, so I want to make sure I get that taken care of. But all right, well, thank you everyone for joining us. Again, thank you for working with us, being part of our team. We want to try to do whatever we can to help make you guys better. All right, take care. God bless.